The CEO of the Nigerian Exchange Limited, Temi Popoola, says that the burst will begin using blockchain technology for settling trade across its platform in a bid to draw young investors in 2023. The NGX head noted that this is the technology young and upcoming Nigerians adopt, and the exchange wants to see how it can deploy it to grow the market. Blockchain is the technology behind cryptocurrency. The innovation will be coming at a time of increased effort by policymakers and businesses across the continent to leverage the technology to facilitate trade. Nigeria's capital market watchdog, the Securities and Exchange Commission, has also unveiled a regulatory framework for digital asset transactions. Joining me now from London is Ola Atoshe. He's the founder of CoinCoin Exchange. Ola, welcome back to Business Edge. Thank you for joining me.
Yes, Tolu, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So this seems to be a bit of an interesting turn of events. Blockchain is the technology that drives cryptocurrencies, the same cryptocurrencies that remain banned or very regulated by Nigeria's central bank. And the Securities and Exchange Commission has an updated guideline for digital assets. And now the NGX is doing this. These are all governments, not fully government, but these are all, it's just an interesting time, Ola. So what do you make of this? Do you think that this is actually a thawing of Nigeria's stance revolving around cryptocurrencies and this digital assets and the digital space?
Well, I would like to think so, but we do have to make the difference, or certainly discuss the difference between blockchain tech and cryptocurrencies or digital assets, as we choose to call them. So, of course, the blockchain technology allows us to do a variety of things. Of course, trading digital assets is one of them, but it, of course, can be used to transfer value, between traders, for example, or as I have often discussed, across Africa or in some sort of cross-border manner. There is value in our local currencies, in stable coins, for example, and the blockchain enables us to be able to move value from one place to the other very quickly and certainly very cheaply. And in a way, it's, if you like, putting us on this sort of Pan-African journey where the different African countries can actually do more business and more trade together. So what we're seeing now with what the NGX, the exchange, what they're saying, of course, what's been put forward as well by the regulator, is some sort of view that yes, there is interest in these bodies to get involved in this space, to attract more young people to investment, but also provide the necessary regulation, which I believe is needed to ensure that the space is properly controlled, if you like. So again, I think that future is coming. It's been very slow from my perspective. But that said, I think as time moves forward, we're getting to see more and more, again, from the different sort of larger and more established bodies out there. So I think it is obviously some good news from my perspective.
And as you said, it's not that the NGX is getting into cryptos. They just might be using the same technology that cryptocurrencies run on. So as you said, this is an idea about reaching out to upcoming and young investors, but it also comes at a time, we can't sort of separate the conversation, unfortunately. It comes at a time when the Bitcoin market crashed because of a failure of the Terra blockchain in May. We saw that. And since its all-time high in November, Bitcoin has lost more than half of its value as well. When you look at the timing of it, this is meant to launch sometime in 2023. Do you think the plan is still on the mark, even though it sort of shies away from the whole situation around cryptocurrencies as it may be?
Well, I mean, I think regardless of the performance of Bitcoin, and I have to state that looking at Bitcoin in terms of what it does on the short term isn't necessarily the best way to look at Bitcoin. I personally choose to take a longer term view. And if you look back to sort of 2013 to sort of now, where we are today in 2022, the entirety of what Bitcoin has done in that period compared to, NASDAQ or S&P or even the Nigerian Stock Exchange, you'll see there's been more gains obviously for Bitcoin. So I still think it's early days. And of course, yes, Bitcoin has taken us all by surprise and a lot of good things have happened. But that said, the underlying technology I feel presents a grand old opportunity for existing financial services. And I'm sure not just the NGX, but also other exchanges around the world will be looking to sort of take advantage of, what we like to call fast execution and quick settlement, which can be done across the blockchain a lot quicker than existing systems. So if you look at payments, for example, if we look at a SWIFT, which is used by all banks, SWIFT takes its time, it's costly. There's a lot of cost to the individual users, there's cost to businesses and the SMEs all over the place. There's a large dependence on the US dollar. We feel that going forward, the blockchain may be able to help us solve some of those problems. Certainly in Africa, there'll be more room for the Pan-African journey, which we've all been looking forward to wean our economies off the US dollar and focus us on an opportunity to sort of do more intra-African trade, which I feel the blockchain will help. And of course, bodies like the NGX, as well as a variety of other bodies who are involved in sort of B2B or sort of, allowing for trade to happen between small entities across the continent, will certainly be happy to see what the blockchain is doing. Certainly in our space, at CoinCoin, we see interest across the continent for the services we provide, albeit the basic access to digital assets. But what we've found happening is there's an increased dependence between clients to be able to move value, from one part of the continent to another. Yeah. It's done quickly, it's done cheaply, and people are starting to realize that there's so much more they can do. And the risk which investment-grade cryptocurrencies present, like Bitcoin, isn't necessarily everyone's concern. A lot of people are choosing to look at stable coins, and the fact that doesn't really pose as much risk in terms of downside to value. A lot of people look into that as a hedge to inflation or a hedge to the value of local currencies. And then, as I say, transfer of value. What we're seeing is a lot more transfer of value between the likes of Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, and South Africa, and all that's being done on the blockchain currently. So I think it presents a grand old opportunity for SMEs, a grand old opportunity for small businesses and individuals across Africa, and we're glad to be a part of it.
Okay, so Ola, stay with me. I want to share some numbers now. So in the first 3 months of this year, Nigerians transacted $185 million in Bitcoins on Paxful, accounting for a quarter of all transactions. And you also see that when it comes to the Nigerian Bourse, we have the CEO of the Bourse believing that digital transactions would help attract young buyers looking for a variety of products as well as quick and easy access to the market. Last year, MTN Group's Nigeria units released the Bourse's first complete electronic share offering, which was 1.2 times oversubscribed, with 85% of the investors being under 40 years old. So, Ola, my question now is, are we seeing young Nigerians more and more interested in investing, and it's about meeting them where they are, that the platforms must be platforms that are enabled with the technology that young people are interested in? Is that what it is? Because it seems that the NGX wants to get in on the money that young Nigerians are spending in the cryptocurrency space.
Well, of course, it's a smart move on their part, and I certainly support it. I welcome what the NGX is doing, and I certainly congratulate Temi on that approach that he's choosing to take. And what's the average age in Nigeria? It's 18. So everyone in Nigeria is young if you want to go there. And of course, the young people, not just in Nigeria, but across the world, are seeing these opportunities happen. And they all want to be a part of it. And of course, I see the NGX, obviously coming on board to take advantage of that. But at the same time, for those of us already in the space, we think it's a good thing. So what we do at CoinCoin currently is we offer access to digital assets across Africa. We have that Pan-African approach. But at the same time, at some point in the near future, we hope to offer other products which will be tradable and executable, and we'll be able to settle those products, across the blockchain. Okay. So I think it's a brave new world. I think the opportunities speak for themselves. And with the approach we've chosen to take, the approach some of our competitors are taking, we've been very careful. We've followed guidelines which have been put forward by regulators. Yes. With regards to things like KYC and anti-money laundering. So we've been very careful. I mean, at CoinCoin, we all have, traditional finance experience. So we're bringing that knowledge across. And yes, it's taking some time. Adoption is moving slowly, but it's happening.
So let me ask you about adoption now, particularly for regulators and policymakers, and that's going to be my last question. Particularly in Kenya and South Africa, we're seeing that enthusiasm now. We're seeing that willingness to sort of adopt and look at this technology, not as necessarily a disruptor, but one you have to accept whether you like it or not. So while we still see some people fighting it, aka the Central Bank of Nigeria, I don't know what's going to happen with them. But what do you think we should expect for the rest of the year? Because it is interesting when you have that CBN regulation, you have the SEC guidelines, and now you have the NGX sort of in a different direction, but in the same space. So what do you expect throughout this year, Ola?
Well, I wouldn't say the CBN is fighting it. I think they're being cautious. And of course, I think everyone's welcome to the blockchain party. I think given time, the central bank will have a good look at it, and when they're good and ready, I'm sure that they'll have their own guidelines, which I will presume will be similar to some of the guidelines, which have been put out already. So I think the CBN just need more time to consider, the benefits, of blockchain-driven platforms, and I think as time goes on, we'll see more adoption. But I think it's too early to sort of judge, which pocket everyone's in. I just think it's very, very, certainly very proactive on the part of NGX, and certainly very positive from those of us in the industry to see that movement is happening. And I'm sure, a lot of talks will continue behind the scenes to sort of get the Central Bank of Nigeria on board, so that they can sort of come out and, provide some sort of oversight for the entire industry, especially for Nigeria, which is, again, one of the largest in the world for digital assets and blockchain tech, as we know.
All right, Allah Atoshe, will end the conversation there. Of course, throughout, there's a lot more for us to talk about, and we'll be reaching out to you as those conversations happen. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, have a good one. And now we need to wrap things up with NC4 to watch. So let's take a break and get to it right after this. And now let's take a few stories that we're keeping our eyes on. And we start in Ghana, where the Electricity Company Limited has accepted the tariff increase approved by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, expected to take effect from September 1st, 2022. Tariffs for electricity and water are expected to go up by 27.15% and 21.55%. Brazil's economy minister says that South Africa has suspended anti-dumping duties on Brazilian exports of frozen chicken, welcoming the decision as a way to boost its competitiveness in the South African market. South Africa had been applying anti-dumping tariffs on Brazilian exporting companies since December 2021, ranging from 6 to 265%, in addition to an import tax, in response to overseas groups allegedly exporting meat below prices in its home market. The Central Bank of Kenya has reported that as a result of investor demands for higher rates, which led the Apex Bank to extend offers on the table, the August Treasury bond sale fell 11.5 Kenyan shillings short of the target. But the uncertainty over the economic policy to be implemented by the incoming administration is also likely to filter through to the bond market, with many likely to opt to wait and see if there is any substantial shift in budgetary allocations by the new government. And finally, electric motorcycle companies are leveraging partnerships with lenders specializing in asset finance to drive sales in Kenya, targeting boda riders. Kenya and the region are rapidly catching up on electricity mobility, but costs remain a big obstacle to abandoning fossil fuels for clean energy. And that's the business we have for you on Business Edge. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Download our mobile app, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and watch us on the platforms we are available. 12 p.m. West African time. News Central now comes your way with the latest from here on the continent and beyond. I'm Tolulokwe Adeleru Balogun. Just stick around.